Hola, clase de español 1. Ya es tiempo de hacer nuevo vocabulario y gramática. Time for some new grammar and vocab for section 5.2. Please take your time and copy this down if you printed out the vocab sheet in advance. Feel free to write things down. Make sure to use the space bar from time to time. And if you come up with any questions along the way, that would be great. Feel free to write them down, either email them to me, or you can always bring them up in class on Monday or Tuesday, and we'll get going from there. Hopefully take care of all of your questions on the early side of things, so we have multiple days to hammer out all of the details. Let's go ahead and take a look at our new vocab for this new chapter, talking about what you and your friends like to do together. We have a ellos or a ellas. It means to them. A ustedes means to you all. Acampar is to camp. El agua is water or the water. Asistir a is to attend. Beber is to drink. Bucear is to scuba dive. La carta is a letter. La clase de literally means the class of. So if you were to say la clase de ejercicio, you'd be saying the class of exercise. Or in English, we would just more commonly say exercise class. La clase de aeróbicos would be aerobics class. Comer is to eat. Correr is to run. Escribir is to write. Especialmente, especially. Esquiar means to ski. Hacer ejercicio is to exercise. And the way that you would conjugate that would be like to conjugate the verb hacer and always have ejercicio afterwards. So for example, if you want to say, I exercise, would be yo hago ejercicio. If she exercises, it would be ella hace ejercicio. If we exercise, it would be hacemos ejercicio, and so on. La hamburguesa is the hamburger. El jugo is the juice. Juntos or juntas means together. Leer is to read. Les gusta is they like, or you all formal like. Nos gusta is we like. Las papas fritas are French fries. El periódico is the magazine. Pescar is to fish. Por la playa means on the beach. Recibir is to receive or to get. El sándwich, of course, is the sandwich. Obviously a pretty strong cognate there. Las tarjetas postales are postcards. Las tiras cómicas are comic books. And las vacaciones are vacations. Almost done here. Kind of toward the end. La milla is the mile. Por la mañana is in the morning. Por la noche is at night. And por la tarde is in the afternoon. Típicamente means typically. So just some random vocab from chapter 5.2 as well. I'd like to go ahead and take a look at some of the specific grammar notes for this week. Let's go ahead and take a look at them here. Very first one, chapter 5.2. Let me open this up a little bit here. Activities, likes, dislikes, and things along those lines. And here we go. First one is clarifying with les gusta. See, oftentimes in Spanish, when you say me gusta, it's I like. Te gusta is you like. But when you say les gusta, it can mean many things. It can mean they like. It could be a group of guys, a group of women, a group or a mixed group. It could also be you all, formal, like it could be like the ustedes form. So that's why we would clarify with phrases like a ustedes les gusta, or a ellos les gusta, or a ellas les gusta. So we'll just read through this very quickly. Since the pronoun les can mean to them or to you, plural, add the phrases a ustedes, a ellos, or a ellas for clarification. Example, a ustedes les gusta la clase de español. You all like Spanish class. Or a ellos les gusta asistir a una clase de ejercicios aeróbicos. Sorry, they like to attend aerobics class. Or a ellas les gustan las tiras cómicas. They love comic books. In this case, the they refers to a group of women because it's ellas, not ellos. ¿Está bien? La próxima, next one. Okay, in chapter 4, we focused on AR verb conjugation. Below are the endings for ER and IR verbs. So with AR verbs, you had endings like o, as, a, amos, ais, an. Well, it's very similar, but there are some small differences too. ER verbs, your endings will be o, es, e, emos, ais, en. Kind of makes sense, right? Since AR verbs are o, as, a, amos, ais, an, they all have, or most have that A in them. The ER verbs all have the E in them. So I think the IR verbs are almost the same as ER verbs, but they have an I in the nosotros and vosotros forms as well. So yo endings would be O for both situations. Tu endings will be es and es for both ER and IR verbs. El, ella, and usted endings for all ER and IR verbs will be e and e. Nosotros endings for ER verbs are hemos and imos for ER and IR respectively. Vosotros endings are going to be es and is for ER and IR verbs respectively. And then ellos, ellas, and ustedes ER and IR verbs will have an N ending. So the most helpful thing is how we practice them in class. Obviously, when it's just being presented to you like this, it doesn't really sink in real well. This is just an overall explanation that you can come back to if you needed to get something extra. But take a look at this next slide here. I have some examples. I have the subject pronouns rewritten for you. Yo, tú, él, ella, usted, nosotros, vosotros, ellos, ellas, ustedes. And here are the endings of ER and IR verbs in the same order. So here's an example of an ER verb, the verb comer, which is to eat. Yo como, I eat. Tú comes, you eat. Él, ella, or usted come, he or she eats, or you formal eat. Comemos, we eat. Comes, you all eat. And comen can mean either they eat or you all formal eat. Another example is the verb escribir. I'm going to move this up here for just a moment. There we go. Okay, escribir is to write, and it's an IR verb. So, escribo, I write. Escribes, you write. Él, ella, or usted escribe, he or she writes, or you formal write. Escribimos, we write. Escribís, you all informal write. Or ellos, ellas, or ustedes escriben, they write, or you all formal write. It's a lot of repetition, and it's pretty dry when you just look at it like this. But again, as I mentioned, we're going to be practicing a lot in class, and this is a good way to practice this at home would just be to write some sample sentences using all your new ER, IR, and even the AR verbs. That's a great idea, isn't it? Hey, this is a good idea. Here's your extra credit for this week. I'll tell you what. For extra credit, if you want to earn 5 points of extra credit, why don't you take some of your ER and IR verbs from this new chapter, as well as some from last chapter, and let's say take somewhere between 5 and 8 ER and IR verbs, and then take between 3 and 5 AR verbs, and just write me 10 sample correct sentences. For example, an ER verb example, you could write down, yo como un sándwich, I eat a sandwich. And then you could say, for an AR example, ella descansa por la mañana, she rests in the morning. And then for an IR verb example, you can write down, nosotros escribimos nuestros apuntes. We write our notes, or something like that. So write down, it's a total of 10 sentences. At least 5 ER and IR verbs, and somewhere between 3 and 5 AR verbs. It's going to be a total of 10, no matter what it is, and you just want to write some sample sentences that require you to conjugate verbs correctly. There's your assignment for those of you who want to earn a little extra. and help yourself understand things and study well in the process. Okay, finishing out here pretty soon. Don't forget your AR verb endings, of course. O, as, a, amos, aisan. For example, the verb pintar, to paint. Pinto, pintas, pinta. Pintamos, pintáis, pintan. For I paint, you paint, he or she paints. So hopefully this is seeming really repetitive to you. The idea is that if this seems like, wow, we said the same thing a million times by now, then that means that we're doing the right thing. Okay, if you recognize it and you're sick of hearing the same thing because you know it and you just want to move on, that's a positive. So we're going to keep going with that. And again, any questions that you come up with, obviously emailing is fine. Best thing to do is bring them into class though also. Have a great time. We'll see you when you come back. I believe that it depends on which year you are viewing this, but oftentimes 5.2 is the first one we have coming back from our holiday break. So if you're viewing this over holiday break, hope you had a great one, and we'll see you real soon. Ciao.